2022 has been such a wonderful year for the folks that understand how to properly plan, create liquidity, and oh, by the way, for the next 3 or 4 months, there is going to be specials after specials that are on sale all over the place in any asset class that's out there today. We're going to get into a little bit about the secret to beating inflation and what that looks like when it comes to your money, time, and magic, proper planning, where the right hand speaks to the left hand as far as all your financial professionals. So all your decision making is based on logic, math, and science, not emotional timidity. And once you're in that space, and now all of a sudden it's like, hey, oh my God, I could buy that piece of real estate at a 30, 40% discount. Oh, the S&P 500's down 20, 30, 40%. Oh, Bitcoin is like getting back down to like 2017, 18, 19 levels. Whatever the case may be, the opportunities are going to be there. It's important for you to understand what your money core value mindset is, what your wealth wounds are. In other words, are you bringing down some financial scarcity from generations past? Or did you make bad investments and you lost money and now you're scared to take advantage going forward? But like Bismarck, he said, it was either 1984 or 586, this is the season, and this is the season where you're going to catch the vapors. Come check us out. So how inflation actually ruins your savings, and let's kind of play with this a little bit. Inflation is the decrease of purchasing power over time. Anytime your savings does not grow at the same rate as inflation, you're going to lose money. In June of this year, inflation peaked to a 40-year high at about 9.1%. Right now it's about 8.5, 8.4. And about a year ago, the government said that by the end of 2022, it would be at 2%. Well, they just upped that to 2025. So, the amount of printed money needs to get out of the system. So they create inflation, which creates a recession, so on and so forth. This is part of the lever game that they play, and they've been doing it for a long time. So at the end of the day, when we talk about inflation, it's a stealth bomber. You can't see the effects until afterwards. Whether gas was at 5, it's getting lower now. The food costs, all these different monthly costs that are really hurting the middle class in ways that probably it hasn't in a long time. And we're at 30, 40-year highs, not only in where inflation is, but also if you think about what's happening, and this is really starting to kind of move pretty fast. Interest rates on mortgages have gone, I'm going to give you the 30-year, from 2 to 6%. And I don't think we've seen 6% on a 30-year since 2008, right? So now all of this is starting to creep in every single day. If you were going to buy a house in June, let's say the house was $1 million, that payment at 2% is a lot different than at 6%. So to get that same $1 million house in June at 2%, today at 6 is going to be about $700,000, give or take. The challenge is deletion, dilution, distortion, whether it's the person trying to sell the house or the realtor who got that Lamborghini 8 months ago, or who got that other investment 8 months ago. They're trying to tell their client, no, you can get $3 million, don't worry about it. But like they're running these looking for a sunset, because what's happening now is people are chasing money. But the realtor also is giving secrets away to the buyer, because we're in a buyer market, that they weren't giving away in the summer when they would get 50 people to walk through a house on a weekend. Now it's down to 4. So it's important to understand that right now, real estate is going to continue to drop. However, if you have a long-term mindset that's part of a game plan, that it's like, hey man, I'm going to do this for real estate investment purposes, and I'm going to get 4 different rates of return on each and every dollar. I'm not buying something today to flip it tomorrow. Those people are going to get in trouble. What I'm doing is I'm looking for markets that I can get below the average on the pricing, and it sits and fits with my overall financial plan when it comes to real estate investing. And in that space, you'll be able to take advantage of right now what's happening from a winter perspective, because the discounts continue to come nonstop, all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. So check it out. If one of your planners is a reactive one-trick pony, let me give you an example. By the way, I'm just keeping it real. You could have a fiduciary. That fiduciary could be tied into like just the money management side. I'm not saying it's wrong. They could have alternative investments, whatever the case may be. But what begins to happen is when things begin to shift and shift quickly, they'll start introducing new products like this, for example, a tip. So tips are typically issued in terms of 5, 10, and 30 years. And what it is a treasury inflation protected securities that are a type of security issued by the government. As inflation rises, TIPS adjust in price, principal amount, in order to maintain their real value. Now, if you're super duper 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 conservative and time is on your side, this is something to play with as far as being able to put some of your dollars in it, but never to put too much based on the overall financial mosaic. But what begins to happen is when things change, these kind of strategies start coming to play. And that's why we always say it's important to make sure your accountant and your fiduciary and your insurance agent and your trust officers on the same page, because it's not just about one part. It's about the global strategy when it comes to all the different asset classes and being able to diversify within and amongst those asset classes. So as inflation comes marching in, right, here's another product, an I-bond, which are another government product designed to protect your money from inflation. You could buy I-bonds at 9.62% through October 22nd, which means it's going to start going down, as far as interest you get. It's only good for the next 4 weeks. That rate is applied for 6 months after the purchase is made, after which a new rate is determined based on the CPI. So it could go to 12 or 13 if inflation goes higher, but if inflation goes lower, it's going to kind of keep pace with that. I-bonds are capped at $10,000 per individual per year, have withdrawal penalties for the first 5 years. So I would like this if, like, super duper wealthy, you could put in, 100, 200, 500, whatever your money is. If you could put a lot of money into it, I would like it. If you could leverage it, I would like it. Because if you're going to get that rate while you're leveraging it for other investments, it's a good idea in that scenario. But it would really require your team to be on the same page so you can make really good decisions in this space. So whether it's an I-bond or a TIP, there is a holding period. So the I-bond's holding period is about 12 months, right? So the question is, can you create leverage off it or not? And if you can, what would you do and how would you deploy that leverage? If it's an I-bond and you can only put $10,000 in per person, it's not like you could put in $500,000, leverage it to go buy a piece of real estate, right? So there's all these little nuances that must be understood so you can really maximize your wealth and take advantage of opportunities. So ready? This is always a mathematical 4+4 conversation that all of the people inside the financial services love to talk about. That's the rule of 72. The rule of 72 is an easy way to know how fast your investments will double. For example, if you invested in I-bonds at a rate of 9.62%, divide that by 72, you're going to get the number 7.48, which basically means your double is going to happen every 7 years. If you would invest $10,000 in 40 years, this would yield you over $320,000. That's the rule of 72. According to Jeff Durr, the rule of 72 is if you don't make a decision to act within 72 hours, you won't do it, which, by the way, I actually agree with that 100%. So it's important to understand, who does this rule benefit? Why do we know about this rule? Why do people talk about it? It's for the people that are selling a product so they can create an image and a picture for you to go do things, but they don't talk about the taxes, they don't talk about inflation, they don't talk about interest rates, and they don't talk about lost opportunity cost. So retire financially secure. So if we talk about, like, the cookie cutter approach, I really don't think it's working. According, for the masses. I think that there's certain people that if they just do accumulation, they do it every month, they don't skip a beat, they understand what the fees are, they could get themselves to a $1 million, $2, $3 million 401k, but it's still going to be taxed. I think if you look at this right here, according to Vanguard, the average 65-year-old plus has about $209,000 in a 401k. This is largely due to the gathering of information of investing in single-digit 401k vehicles or ROI vehicles. Those who achieve financial security truly diversify their investments with double, triple, quadruple-digit rates of returns in not necessarily a vehicle, but in a process. I don't think there's a vehicle that's going to give you a quadruple rate of return. At least I haven't seen it. But that doesn't mean a process will. That doesn't mean real estate won't. That doesn't mean if you own a business, it won't. I don't know if real estate and business is a vehicle, but I think for a process, if you have an overall process and understand that and stick to it and really be able to put yourself in a position to financially create that generational wealth through having an overall plan, then I believe you'll be able to get these doubles and triples along the way. So check it out, alternative investments, right? So while TIPS or I-bonds can help contribute to a diverse portfolio, on investments such as real estate or businesses where you could generate significantly higher ROI. We're about to enter winter. And 5 years from now, when people are blowing up, it's what they do over the next 5 years when winter's here and buy everything on discount. So all of a sudden, it's 2027, and somebody goes from like $1 million to 40 million, it's because they made money during this next 5 years. This is what you have to pay attention to. You need to surround yourself with a team that I dots and T crosses, that shows up like fucking Panthers, comes in every single day, and puts you in a position to prosper so they could win. That's what you need to do. You need to understand that if your money's to be deployed properly, it has to be deployed in situations that just isn't a traditional IRA or a traditional 401k or some traditional Roth or whatever else the case may be because Joey or Mary told you to do it. You have to be able to step into a space of understanding money, financial education, but then you need to put a team around you. I have a money mindset. I need to continue to evolve my team so I can take that next step forward. So check it out. If you want to be able to learn more and be able to take that next step forward and understand exactly what needs to be done A through Z, trust me, I could have the map and I could show it to you. Go ahead and click the link below. There's no obligation. There will be team members here at Epic that'll take you through that success process. Thanks for checking us out.